Hey everyone, Zach Zabuki, mortgage broker with Edge Home Finance. We had Brittany on the team reach out to you because I wanted everyone within our realtor network that have listings right now to take a watch with this and have me show you the strategy. And even if you don't have any listings right now, even if you're just working with buyers, this is still something that we can implement on the buy side. But as a listing, if you have a listing currently, this is something you want to project to or propose to your sellers because it's a great way to incentivize, encourage, welcome more buyers when you show that you're willing to do this as a seller. But it's an affordability strategy called the no refi purchase. And I'm going to go over exactly how this works. We're going to use the example of a property my wife and I actually recently flipped and we have listed, and it's at a 579 purchase price. For a lot of folks, that might feel like an intimidating number. And I want to show you in this video how we can bring the affordability to a realistic scenario where it can be a win-win for both the buyer and the seller. And I'm not talking about temporary rate buy downs, okay? So watch this. This is going to be very, very interesting how we're going to do this. But ultimately, if we're going off of a current market, property value, like I showed you, is 579. That's what we have that property listed at. Loan amount, if you're doing a conventional loan with 5% down, your loan amount would be 550, $50. Now, if you guys want to look at VA, FHA, this can apply for those programs as well. Just for this example, we're using conventional. And so the interest rate right now, markets, the rate market right now is kind of back and forth, teeter-totter, right? So just 7%, sometimes on good days, it can be low sixes. On bad days, it'd be high sevens. So we're just kind of straddling here with a 7%, 30-year term, 360 months. There's the principal and interest payment. And we're just going to show the down payment here as 5% of this purchase price number. Okay, so this is the current market scenario. Now, if we were to do a price reduction of 3%, I want to show you what this looks like because a lot of people think of reducing the price when they think of how do we implement affordability. A lot of people is like, well, lower the price. Well, if you lower it 3%, here's the changes. We're keeping the same exact rate. Look what it does to our monthly payment. We're only about $109, just under $110 per month savings on a price point of 579. That may not feel like a lot, right? And the down payment, as you can see, is not that much difference. But I want to show you guys and I say the underlying theme of this whole strategy is to think lower the rate, not the price. That's ultimately what's going to make more of the moving the needle feel when we're talking about affordability, because affordability is all about the payment that the buyer is going to feel at the end of the day, right? So instead of doing a price reduction, let's go back to the price that the property is currently marketed at or listed at. So 579, same loan amount. Now we buy down the rate, and here's how we're going to do it. I provide 1%. I'm bringing 1% of my commission to the table to help your buyer bring the rate down in combination with a seller concession. And we can talk about what the numbers would look like, how that can work with how you're trying to negotiate, whether you're on the listing side or the buy side. But at the end of the day, combining my commission and the seller concession, you can go up to 3% if the buyer's bringing less than 10% down for a concession on the seller side, 3%, or you don't have to use the total 3%, but up to 3%. But combining with my 1%, right? We can bring the rate down to a 5.875. And look what it does to our payment. $405 per month, almost $406 per month savings. That is way better than 110, right? Almost four times the amount, or just under four times the amount in savings. And that's a lot more attractive to a buyer for this price point, right? So, and here's the thing, if we do this with the right numbers in play, we can ultimately help them be in this scenario for when rates do eventually drop. There's not a need for the refinance to be done because we've ultimately helped them bring the rate down to where it's pretty low already as is. Like, let's just say in the future, let's say in 12 months, 24 months, because we've been all waiting for the rates to drop for the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and they just haven't, at least to these levels. And if that happens to happen, we still have a scenario for our buyer where it won't make sense because The cash to close is anywhere from 10 grand to 13 grand. But just kind of calculating an estimate here. This is the monthly savings on this scenario. But look what the savings difference is in comparison to how long it takes for this to be recouped, right? So you've got a solid savings here, but if you're going to do a refinance later when the rates do come down, this scenario would take you 8 years to recoup the cost to get into the refinance for this scenario. So this is why this won't be needed because most folks aren't in the loan for longer than 4 years, right? So just wanted to show you guys how this breaks down and hopefully it can make sense. If you guys want me to run specific numbers for your scenario, just let me know and I'm happy to help. And hopefully this can be a strategy that you guys can implement and see it be a win-win for both sides of the transaction. So if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Always happy to help. And we'll hope to chat and see you soon. Take care.